Hello on this very lovely, sunny, albeit chilly January day. Here we have a few quick hacks to really boosting energy, stamina, and strength, yes, but more we're looking at energy and stamina, staying power, if you like, throughout a day. Without the use of stimulants such as your coffee and caffeine. So I'm going to just run through 3 of them that I find make a big difference for most people and rather rapidly. The first one, and this is a bit of a bigger task on the part of you, the listener, but if you can bear it, oh my gosh, it'll set you up in such good stead going forward. If you can train your body to switch from burning sugars as a fuel into burning fat as a fuel, there you will find you have potentially twice the energy as you do now while you're burning sugar. Fat, each gram of fat has as much as 9 calories. That's energy, which literally is over double what each gram of sugar has. And right now, as your body burns sugar as a fuel, it's only getting a mere 4 calories per gram. When your body flips into proper fat burning, energy levels go up, sustainable energy goes up, you wake up brighter in the morning, sleep patterns tend to improve. There's a whole balancing that goes on. And in my experience, the capacity of your body then to flip into burning fat from sugars, it gets better, it gets easier. The body can do it more rapidly, more readily as time goes on. So in other words, first time you retrain your body, if you like, back into doing it, because there's a big argument to say we evolved this way. The first time you get your body back into doing it, second time you go to do it, third time, it's really fast. The body begins to flip over and back. It's called metabolic flexibility. So step number 1, my top of the list way, if you want more energy on a day-to-day basis without fueling yourself with stimulants, artificial ones, is to really get back into fat metabolism. Best way to do that, again, in my experience, is do a short stint, and by short, I do mean days, I'm afraid, not hours. Do a short stint of 8 to 10 days on a good, strict, tight, high-fat diet. After that, then potentially move into medium fat ones, consider intermittent fasting. But that initial short stint actually gets your body properly into the fat burning as a fuel. And what I find with clients when they do that, in the long haul, when they go back to more normal eating, now obviously with a bit of common sense applied, when they go back to more normal eating, where the body is burning sugar as a fuel more regularly on a day-to-day, they can alternate into fat burning. So they don't get those dips in the afternoon, for example. They find it easier to get up in the morning because they don't have the highs and the lows of the sugar, basically needing the sugar to give you an energy burst, and then having that insulin hit that pulls all the sugar out, which gives you the energy dip. So step number 1, train your body into metabolic flexibility. Now, for the easier, faster ones, which are much quicker and simpler, step number 2, one of them, many of them, there are many steps out there, but step number 2, this is a really quick one, really fast one. Everybody can do this, and you don't have to go shopping for this. You don't have to change anything apart from what you do for a mere 60 seconds once in the day. That's all. Once in the day, my personal favorite, if it's specifically considered for an energy lift, my favorite time to do it is around between 3 and 4, when occasionally you can get that slight dip. Do 60 seconds of squats, as many as you can for 1 minute. So standing in the one position, go as low as you comfortably can. If it's difficult, just do partial squats, or simply sit down in a chair, stand up again. So literally go down, stand up, sit down in the chair, stand up, as many as you can for 60 seconds. So for some of you, that may be 20 you get out. For others, you may get a whole 60 out. Just get as many as you can. Build it up. If you find 10 is the most you can do the first day, you'll find you can probably do 15 or 20 by the time you're 3 or 4 days in. That will get the heart rate going, circulation going, get the energy running through the body. It has a natural hormonal hit where it helps stabilize insulin. You get a natural growth hormone kick. Oxygen uptake increases. That is the key. That oxygen uptake, circulation improving, will make all the difference in both mental and physical energy and stamina, and lift you and drive you through into the evening. Step number 3, we're going to look at it from a supplement point of view now. A few things to consider. If we're talking about energy and stamina on a more day-to-day basis, where we just mean staying power, where when you train, you want to be able to keep going for longer. If you have a physical job, you want to keep going for longer. Interestingly though, this also can impact memory and brain functioning. One of the best supplements that I know of is creatine, and it's a protein-based supplement. You get it in fish and meat. Naturally, you find it. Your body produces a little bit of it. Your body uses it to create our energy molecules, ATP, literally like energy molecules that your body uses when you're doing any form of, I suppose, high intensity training. So if you're going for a sprint, you're running up an escalator, running for a bus, your body uses this ATP. Creatine is the main source, the main ingredient in creating it. Interestingly, as we get older, particularly in women as we go through perimenopause and onwards, apparently as our estrogen levels drop, our brains rely more on this ATP. So in a nutshell, creatine becomes even more important for the brain functioning, the memory and the recall side of things as well. So creatine, really simple supplement. We have it in strong nutrients, creatine monohydrate. It's just a powder. Teaspoon is even enough in any liquid. Actually, it can even be in yogurt or a protein shake. You can put it into your coffee. Make sure it's lukewarm or warm. Don't have it in really hot because that can kill it off. So a warm to your coffee would work well. And just a teaspoon a day works beautifully, unless you're somebody really into your training and you're looking for the stamina for that. In which case, take a teaspoon twice a day. Do that for about 5 days. Build it up in the body. Every time you train or exercise, your body will utilize and use up its stores. So that just gets it replenished very quickly. But even if you're not exercising and not training, but simply just doing a lot, that 1 teaspoon a day is more than ample. And finally, we're going to look at this from one last angle. And I would ask you to consider whether iron levels may be a little bit low. Iron is one of these things, well, really we're talking about hemoglobin here, which is your circulation, your blood flow. And it's one of those things that often when people get medically tested will show that they're absolutely fine. But there can be that void, I find, between the medical testing and actual optimal health. And in that gap, nobody really comes into play as such. But if the iron is just on the lower end of that scale, the optimal health scale, you'll find potentially that you could sleep 8 hours a day or night, so to speak, and still sleep an extra hour or two. You could find that you are in the middle of the afternoon and you just want to lie down and you will fall asleep on the sofa very readily. Usually a key sign of the iron being low is when you go from sitting to standing quickly and you feel a little bit lightheaded. Most people call it low blood pressure, but actually in this case, the blood pressure is low simply because there's not enough heme, there's not enough blood to get round the body, so the oxygen's not getting around. And that will affect energy. And there's very little you can do bar getting the iron levels back up to solve that one. Now we get iron naturally in our meat, red meat, we get it in eggs, and also things like your deep green vegetables are very useful. If you're leaning towards being vegetarian or vegan, then it can obviously be a little bit harder to get the iron sources in. Equally, oh my gosh, I mean, almost pretty much every woman right up until the age of their mid-40s and onwards can be having a period every month. So there can be a great iron loss there. If you drink a lot of tea, the tannic acid can also affect the absorption of that iron. So there's lots of reasons as to why iron can be low. And high intensity training, weight training. So even a 20-year-old boy can be low in iron. If they're doing a lot of heavy training, they may need more because you need it to make up the new cells. So best way to get the iron is naturally through the diet. Honestly, this is where I do say, now if you're vegetarian or vegan, I'm not trying to convert you, but if you're not and you do eat red meat, this is where red meat can come in on its own, but always try and get the best quality source you can get, ideally grass fed, if at all possible. Eggs, I said, great, but make sure they're organic and free range, if at all possible. And then finally, supplements. 2 favorite supplements in this regard. One is called hemoglobin iron, very simple, as it says in the tin. And the other is good old-fashioned desiccated liver. Superb for energy, naturally high in iron, naturally high in B complex, nucleic acids, absolutely brilliant for an energy boost, particularly that sort of sustainable energy throughout the day. So sources of those, there's a company called Aduco Health that do the hemoglobin iron and the desiccated liver. If you're going desiccated liver and you're just jumping on Amazon, go a good grass-fed, hormone-free option. But both of those will get iron levels back up. The desiccated liver has the added bonus of giving an incredible energy boost with all those nucleic acids. It's great for skin, great for nails, great for hair. So there you have it. Quick run through of hacks to get your sustainable energy up. First is switch your body, retrain your body back into fat burning and more of a dependency on the fats rather than the sugars. When it does that, it'll eat into your fat stores too. So that's a great way for getting into shape, but superb way for energy. It takes the reliance off the sugar and it keeps you away from those sugar highs and lows. Look at just 60 seconds a day and do it at the time of the day where you often feel that dip of getting that oxygen uptake right up. And it just takes 1 minute. You can do it at any point. If you're in an office and working there, go into the bathroom, into the loo and do it there. Just sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. As many as you can for 60 seconds. It'll completely change the oxygen uptake, brain functioning, circulation, have an impact on neurotransmitters. You name it, it can change the whole body's physiology in literally just 60 seconds. Third is having a look at, from a supplement point of view and nutrient point of view, have a look at the creatine. Creatine you get naturally in fish and meat, as I said. If you don't eat much of those, the body can be low. If you do a lot of training, the body can use up its stores. It's the primary source of that ATP, those energy molecules. They literally are our energy molecules, and the brain uses those too. So the creatine supplement is fantastic. And the last but not least is have a consideration of whether iron levels may be low. If it's only marginally low, you'll likely be able to jump it up through your nutrition. But if it's very low, and you'll know that by if you get very lightheaded from sitting to standing, then it's worth supplementing. But the only ones I would really go for are those hemoglobin sources of the iron. Or, as I said, that desiccated liver, but make sure it's hormone free and grass fed. There you have it.